Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 2 for this news report for today for Wednesday, July 3rd, 2013. I'm ready to go here. We're going to cover the economy and some eugenics. Euro crisis is on. Portugal crashes after finance minister resigns, and it says, and it's like the good old days in Europe today. The Portuguese stock market crashed over 6%. It says interest rates on Portuguese bonds are also spiking. It says the finance minister has resigned in a dispute over austerity. This was originally posted by the Wall Street Journal. More temporary workers than ever before. So we've covered this many times before about many of the jobs that are being created are part-time jobs and low wage. On June 7th, the Labor Department reported the nation had more temporary workers than ever before, 2.7 million. Almost one-fifth of the total job growth since the recession has been in the temp sector. One list of the biggest U.S. employers placed Kelly Services second only to Walmart. It says outsourcing to temp agencies has cut deep into the U.S. job market. 1 in 5 manual laborers who move and pack merchandise is now a temp, and as is 1 in 6 team assemblers who often work at auto plants. This insulates companies from workers' compensation claims, unemployment taxes, union drives, and the duty to ensure that their workers are legal immigrants. Meanwhile, the temps suffer high injury rates, and many of them endure hours of unpaid waiting and face fees that depress their pay below the minimum wage. Many get by renting rooms at run-down houses, eating dinners of beans and potatoes, and surviving on food banks and taxpayer-funded health care. They almost never get benefits and have little opportunity for advancement. Wall Street banks extract enormous fees from paycheck of millions of American workers. So it says here that today there are 4.6 million active payroll cards in the United States, and some of the largest banks in the country are issuing them, including J.P. Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citigroup. They're issued by large financial institutions, and including Walmart, Home Depot, Walgreens, Taco Bell, just some of the employers doing it. It says the truth is that most American families need every penny that they earn. In America today, 53% of all workers make less than $3,000 a year. But it goes on and says that there's fees for just about everything. So that if you want to use the ATM machine, you must pay a fee. If you want to check your balance, you pay a fee. You want a paper statement, you must pay a fee. Did you lose your card? That'll be a fee. So if it's inactive for a while, you pay a fee. Slave product. So meet the bank's latest slave product, payroll debit cards. So after the great wealth consolidation operation of 2008, says this given the sociopaths that run these crony organizations a license to steal, and they are doing a great job of it. So they call them the prepaid payroll cards. They also discourage employees from using credit unions for their banking needs. Speaking of big banks, HSBC wins okay of record $1.92 billion money laundering settlement. So this is the one, I believe, that was going to funnel money or launder money for drug cartels. Federal judges approved HSBC record almost $2 billion settlement with federal and state investigators of charges that it flouted rules designed to stop money laundering and thwarted transactions with countries under U.S. sanctions. All right, next up, we have pressure to buy America surging. That's what you hear, right? It says it's I guess it's a new trend here. U.S. trade policy is $6.3 billion project that use 43,000 tons of Chinese steel and produce thousands of jobs overseas. So it says the American workers have been totally screwed this year and year out by the free trade negotiations and the compacts. Compacts that have been reached, and it's got to end. So, talking about all these bridges and building stuff, they say here that opponents say that it's a surefire way to increase costs for U.S. taxpayers. This is awesome, right? Dan Flaherty, Vice President of the National Foreign Trade Council in Washington, a business lobby that promotes global trade and globalization. You're going to simply be less efficient. You're going to buy more expensive products than you would if you could buy foreign products. So there's ways to do things to make our dollar or just the currency, whatever, and people more prosperous, and do it in such a way that it's not the detriment of killing the American worker, if it, the American worker really does exist anymore. There's a way to do it, but they don't care, because this is about it's about breaking down the national barriers. And you can still operate like the Marie Le Pen, whatever. Basically, France's right group, the National Front, she was saying that there are ways, when she was being interviewed by RT, there are ways to operate in a global economy without sacrificing your sovereignty. These international corporations, they, like I said, they fly their American flag, and they'll be flying it come tomorrow on 4th of July, but they can give two shits about Americanism or anything like that. They hide their money outside so they don't have to pay taxes. And so, I mean, they're global corporations. They have no commitment or loyalty to any one nation. So it's funny, too. They actually go down there and say, yeah, but some critics say that it could complicate the U.S. negotiations of the first round of new talks with the European Union. Yeah, the transatlantic partnership and all that. Again, it's to further erode sovereignty, and that buying American could mean buying foreign. So there you go. New study says 75% of those surveyed considered a product American if it was manufactured in the U.S. In the same survey released last week, 15% of those surveyed also named Ford as the most American company. What consumers don't know is that companies very traditionally seen as American, from GE to John Deere to Levi Strauss, outsource varying portions of their operations overseas, so it takes a lot of attention and research to determine if you're buying American and what that specifically means to you. So, immigration reform bill gives big money straight to largest defense contractors, as if there isn't already some kind of corporate welfare to these big defense contractors. It goes on here and it says that, including the legislation to clear the way for millions of illegal immigrants to become citizens, are pricey upgrades for improving security along the U.S.-Mexican border. These upgrades consist of specific purchases that the U.S. Customs border must make as written into law. So, for starters, 6 airborne radar systems by Northrop Grumman will be purchased at a cost of $9 million apiece. Watchdog groups say that these forced purchases prevent competition and constitute an end around the bidding process. So you think this individual, Mr. O'Flaherty, is going to say anything about that? I doubt it very, very much. Controversial post. You may not believe who's buying up large businesses across America. Are you ready for a future where China will employ millions of American workers and dominate thousands of small communities all over the U.S.? Such a future would be unimaginable to many Americans, but the truth is that it's already starting to happen. Talking about Chinese acquisition of U.S. businesses is at an all-time record high, and on pace to absolutely shatter that record this year. Meanwhile, China is gobbling up real estate and establishing economic beachheads all over America. So isn't that crazy? If it continues this economic power inside the United States, it will eventually become the dominant economic force in thousands of small communities all over the nation. So, and the U.S. has an invested interest to keep China going and stuff. With Mexican auto manufacturing boom, there's new worries. So, it says here they're using their Mexican plants to produce smaller, cheaper cars with lower profit margins to the U.S. They're talking about making the cars down in Mexico. So it says here that division is breaking down, divisional labor, as Mexico cranks out record numbers of vehicles and attracts billions in new investment. Mexican auto workers are increasingly able to match the skill and productivity of their U.S. counterparts at a fraction of the wages. So I was talking about the American flag should be changed to a big pickup truck, and maybe it should be a big pickup truck that says Made in USA. The U.S. government plans to push Americans out of suburbs to move in planned cities. So I'm talking about Agenda 21 is a UN action plan that basically defines how citizens will live in the 21st century under the guise of eco-sustainability. Most of you are already aware of this, but it'll play into what I'm getting to here. A major component of this action plan is to get citizens out of rural and suburban areas to get them to live in dense, highly planned and controlled megacities. The elites want to see citizens use less space, own less land and real estate, and they want them to fully depend on the state public transportation. Corporations like IBM are highly involved in the creation of these smart cities. By 2050, 70% of the people will be living in cities. So, it's like, okay, so will the people be asked about this? Will they be coerced or forced into it, tricked into it through economic coercion and that? That's how they're going to do it. Chinese migrants see cities as key to better education and lives for kids. Yeah, that's right. Here you go. Those with residency permits for big cities such as Shanghai and Beijing have access to quality health care, education, and other benefits. But those who live in poor villages receive little or no government help, especially when it's time to send their children to school. China's great uprooting, we just covered this, moving 250 million into cities. So they look at China's government-driven effort to push the population to towns in cities is reshaping a nation for millenniums has been defined by its rural life. So there you go, rural living in a world with expensive fuel. It says rising fuel costs are hard on everybody, but one group gets hit especially hard. Rural folks, especially those that work in town. So it's interesting, you know, because we're talking about all the big trucks, especially in rural areas. I was asking the question, you know, why would these people see all these new fancy trucks out there now? Why would they, you know, pay for these trucks? They probably buy them on credit, so they don't have the money, and then they don't really ever use the beds and that for, you know, for hauling or farm work and that, especially when they gotta pay these damn fuel prices, you know. But one thing I thought was it's about masculinity. They either consciously or subconsciously they are aware that they're under attack. The male is, and they're trying to be effeminized, you know. Which is, you know, I'm not saying this is one of the things about all the chrome and making them fancier and less kind of, you know, practical. Now they got to have all the trimmings and stuff. And so they're resisting the effeminization by buying these big trucks. But at the same time, it's like they throw in all the chrome and try to, you know, feminize it again. So, Missouri woman, you know, it's all, like I said, I could be wrong on that, but it's just, you know, my thoughts. Missouri woman faces jail for recycling tires into flower plants. She said that she's prepared to go to jail after authorities in Sugar Creek threatened her over a recycling project that turns tires into flower planters. So I was just really interested in recycling. I'm really big on self-sufficiency, so, you know, Agenda 21, you know, she's doing it. Oh, no, sorry, wasn't authorized. So I like one person, a commenter, who's all about gay marriage and that, and wasn't getting my point that there's other issues that we could be looking at instead of just, you know, this minority issue. And they kept going on and on and on, and it actually, I was like, you know, like something like not having a front yard garden. They're like, oh, it's just rubbish. Are you making this up? And of course, that infuriated me, so I had to just slap them with some links and show them that, no, this is reality, and this does happen. You know, so instead of all these, like I said, mostly middle-class white women talking about reproductive freedom, when we just showed that statistically, a lot of these people getting abortions are poor people, minorities. Instead of, you know, rallying around someone like this woman here and, you know, saying, no, enough is enough, you know, shut the hell up, we're not going to comply with this, and just have a sit-in around there until they finally cave in. But no, they'd rather be out there, you know, fighting for the reproductive rights. Poverty growing faster in suburbs, including North Jersey and cities. So, and this is, of course, because a lot of these jobs that were there, union jobs, manufacturing jobs, and that are gone. So, you know, that was, and a lot of these people left the city to get out of the city because it's just rancid, especially places like Chicago. The demographics change really fast, and they do change fast. I mean, real fast. But, you know, so where are they going to go? They're not going to the suburbs, not going to the rural areas. They're going to get in the megacities, right? Offensive for water fluoridation. So Quebec wants half of the population drinking fluoridated water within 5 years. This is interesting. It says, we will intensify information activities and respond to the misinformation that is being done by means of communicative with the public using new technologies, i.e. the internet maybe, that's been able to circumvent their propaganda disinformation. So it says this is not to go to war, but to restore facts as they are conceived. All you need to know is that the research that funded this whole thing, this whole crap about water fluoridation, is an inexpensive tool, safe and effective to fight tooth decay. This is funded by Alcoa, the aluminum company of America. So, you know, it's toxic waste from pesticide and fertilizer plants. You want to put it in your body, in your system, let your organs, and let it wreak havoc on your kidneys and organs and your liver and your brain. Go right ahead. Again, why can't you get people invested and passionate about something like this to rally around? Where are the missing 90-year-olds, right? So thousands of elderly people are missing. So it says here, could this be an early sign that gains in life expectancy made in the recent decades, I don't know if it was actually made to begin with, will not be repeated in the future? 30,000 fewer people age in their 90s than previously believed. Something similar is happening in the United States? No, you don't say. Because I thought, what, life expectancy on the world shows dramatic rise. So health problems are also rising. So they're sick, but they're living longer. Does that sound like a money-making scheme like Obamacare? America in hormonal decline. 1 in 4 men now have low testosterone. Corporations replace BPA with more DNA damaging, you know, again, feminine. So UK wants to create designer babies with 3-parent process. Obamacare to punish healthy eaters as insurance rates double or triple for those who choose to take care of their single women's health insurance premiums set to double in California thanks to Obamacare. Nowhere. They announced a one-year delay until 2015 for Obamacare to take effect. This is GGN. Thank you.